Now at 11, Hampton Roads is feeling the effects of Ophelia.
The latest tracking information is just coming in. I'll have that track for Ophelia and the effects that we'll feel here in Hampton Roads.
Virginia and North Carolina under states of emergency as Ophelia passes through. And Dominion Energy is working to restore power to thousands of people. We'll have an update on their progress.
Ophelia is forcing a change of plans for people visiting the Outer Banks.
Can't really hang at the beach too much.
How tourists hoping to squeeze in a late summer trip are dealing with the storm. 13 News Now at 11 begins in storm mode. Ophelia is hammering the East Coast right now. Thanks for staying up. I'm Nicole Livis.
And I'm Dan Kennedy. As we look live outside, you can see it is wet, it is windy. The storm hasn't even made landfall yet. But Hampton Roads and the Outer Banks are already feeling the impacts. Both Virginia and North Carolina are under states of emergency, and Dominion Energy is working to restore power to thousands of people right now. Most of those outages are in Virginia Beach.
We have live team coverage of the storm's impact. Stephanie Johnson is in Yorktown, where tidal flooding is expected tonight, and Brenna McIntosh will have a check on the conditions in Virginia Beach. But first, let's send it over to meteorologist Evan Stewart. What's the latest, Evan?
Yeah, we just got the 11 o'clock advisory just in. Ophelia still has winds of 70 miles per hour, still a tropical storm, but a strong one, and it's continuing to make its way towards the coastline. Here's a look at the radar right now, and you can see sort of these bands that have set up. There are gaps in the rain, but where we see some of these heavier bands, that's where we're seeing some of the higher wind gusts, and everything has been working its way in from the southeast to the northwest. And I mentioned, again, you can sort of see how we're seeing these bands sort of work their way through Hampton Roads, and that'll be the case here as we go through the overnight. Now, we mentioned the storm is still off the North Carolina coastline, probably about 3 or 4 hours away from making landfall. That'll probably be around 2, 3 o'clock this morning. Just to the west here of Cape Lookout and Morehead City, North Carolina. Right now moving north-northwest at 12, winds 70 miles per hour. Once it comes inland, it'll quickly start to weaken. So even by 8 o'clock, winds down to 60 as we head into tomorrow evening, 45 mile per hour winds, then a remnant low working its way up towards D.C. and eventually up towards Philadelphia. Now winds at the top of the hour, gust 53 miles per hour in Norfolk, 33 in Newport News, 40 in Virginia Beach, 49 Elizabeth City, and 46 up at Wallops Island. And we have seen several spots with those wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. Inland, you're away from the water, get more friction with the wind, so it slows down as you move back inland, where we're seeing wind gusts in the 20s to the 30s. Rainfall since midnight, you can see several areas already topping that 2-inch mark, almost 3 inches of rain in Chesapeake, almost an inch in Norfolk, almost 2 inches in Virginia Beach and Currituck, and we were saying about 2 to 4 inches, some locally higher amounts across eastern Virginia and North Carolina. So overnight, continue to see rounds of rain, with some dry air being pulled into the system. I think into tomorrow afternoon, we will see a few more breaks in the rain. There'll be some showers around in the morning, isolated showers, maybe scattered showers or thunderstorms into the afternoon, but still a breezy day. The other big issue that we're watching, of course, the tidal flooding. There are several areas that we're keeping a close eye on. That's Yorktown, Jamestown, and over towards Lynn Haven Inlet, where significant flooding is possible during the overnight high tide. I'll have those tide levels and the rest of the forecast when I come back.
All right, Evan, thanks. The wind and rain have been hammering Virginia Beach all day long. This time lapse shows the conditions at the oceanfront earlier this evening, and tonight, wind gusts there are reaching up to 50 miles per hour.
Yeah, Brenna McIntosh been in the thick of it all day long. Brenna, what are you seeing right now?
Well, it's been raining off and on here at the ocean front, but the main issue is the wind. The winds have just grown stronger and stronger throughout the evening, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. Ophelia brought strong winds, heavy rain, and rough surf to the Virginia Beach oceanfront Friday, but that didn't stop surfers and storm watchers from taking in the big waves at Rudy Inlet.
Because of the big waves.
Virginia Beach resident Sam says it's a tradition for her to come out and watch the waves as storms brew. She says this year is the first year she's joined by her 2 young sons.
You know, when it's safe, we like to get out here for a few minutes before it gets too bad and check it out, and then we'll probably come out when it's all done, and, you know, it's just fun.
And Sam says this isn't her first time dealing with severe weather.
We were here through Isabel and all that fun stuff, so we'll be fine.
Virginia Beach emergency management crews have been preparing for the weather, checking storm drains, pump stations, and staging trucks for downed trees. They also have additional staffing this weekend. Katie Carter with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management says while Hampton roads will likely get hit the hardest in the state, they expect to see impacts across the Commonwealth.
And right now in the Emergency Operations Center, we have started our 24-hour shift. So we are going to be here 24/7 throughout the duration of the event and a little bit afterwards for the recovery phase.
Carter advises packing an emergency kit and stocking up on gas and water. Once again, conditions are very rough here at the oceanfront, so if you don't have to leave your home, stay inside and stay safe. Live in Virginia Beach, Brenna McIntosh, 13 News Now.
Thanks. And Stephanie Johnson picks up our live team coverage in Yorktown. That area is expecting tidal flooding with the worst of it coming overnight.
Yeah, Stephanie, what are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, right now, actually, the water from the ocean has definitely reached the shoreline. It's actually past the shoreline. The water is very choppy, rough, and pretty aggressive, if I can explain it to be that. But despite the waves and despite the conditions, people were out here earlier today and just taking it all in. But Yorktown County officials want people to pretty much stay away, and if they do come, stay safe. However, some locals I spoke to said they just wanted to enjoy the night.
So if you go up past the rocks over there, the waves definitely look a little bit more daunting, but over here in the sand, it's pretty, I'd say pretty calm enough for us to go look for shells.
For this mother of three, this evening was a perfect night to get out of the house.
Yeah, it's just out here visiting the beach. It was a half day, so the kids needed to get out of the house.
And she's not alone. While much of Yorktown Beach was empty, others were not afraid to venture out of the house.
I don't think it's going to be as bad. I think we are going to have some water coming in, probably over here at high tide. But it's not like Isabel back in 2003. I don't think we're going to see that.
Others who are not worried decided to grab a bite to eat at Yorktown Pub.
No, I'm not surprised. I think people from in this area are kind of used to the winds and the storm, and they got a great view. Why not, as long as it's no danger.
Although people are out, county officials are asking people to stay home if they don't have to go out. But they want people to stay safe if they go to the beach.
Rocks, you're never allowed on the rocks, but stay off the rocks, especially during wind and tide.
And while most grown-ups are not worried, this kid is a little nervous.
Shock our house. Shock our house. Okay, I don't think we'll be that bad, but yeah.
Well, I agree with Bella. It is getting kind of choppy out here. The worst of Ophelia is expected to hit overnight, and this area should see some rising waters. Also, county officials say if people come out here to the beach, to stay off of the rocks at the beach. Now, people are not supposed to get on the rocks in the first place, but if they do, and they do not want them to get on the rocks at all while this storm is in town. In Yorktown Beach, Stephanie Johnson, back to you.
All right, Stephanie, beautiful shot there by the York River. A little further south, Hampton is opening up a shelter just in case anyone needs it during the storm. This is at the Phoenix K-8 school on Big Bethel Road. The entrance is at the back of the school, and pets are allowed there. Well, we told you at the top of the show, the storm has knocked out power to thousands of people in Hampton Roads.
Dominion Energy is working to get those lights back on. So let's take a look at their outage map. Most of the outages we're seeing in Virginia Beach right now, also seeing quite a few in Newport News and Poquoson City. We have Dominion spokesperson Benita Billingsley Harris on the phone with us tonight. Benita, we appreciate your time. What are you seeing in terms of numbers and cities impacted? All right, Benita, if you can't hear us, we will try to check in with you again shortly. Nicole, what we are seeing from these numbers is Virginia Beach has about 5,300 people in the dark right now. And you know those line crews are out there working to get the lights back on.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of posts. If you're on the Neighbors app, a lot of people, it seems like every couple of seconds, hey, I've got power out in this part of the of Virginia Beach. So we're seeing a lot. People are talking about green lightning flashes and loud booms. So we know something's going on there with the power. But Dominion Energy told us earlier they are working to restore it. They have crews there at the ready to get power restored if it goes out.
There you go.
Well, next, North Carolina also under a state of emergency tonight. We will check on conditions on the Outer Banks and hear from visitors who had to switch up their vacation plans. And as we look live over the interstate, we will check in with VDOT officials who are monitoring slick conditions out there. And Ophelia hasn't made landfall yet. Evan's going to have another update for us.
Andy Bashir is flat out lying.
I've never supported gender reassignment surgery for kids.
That is false. Bashir sided with the radical left, allowing young children to undergo permanent gender-changing surgery.
Those procedures don't happen here in Kentucky.
Reports prove that gender-changing surgeries were done at this Lexington facility. Andy Bashir caught lying again. What else is he lying about?
This is Daily Blast Live, right here at this desk, 5 days a week. No topics are off limits. I think it's an okay conversation to have. We have fiery debate. That's not true. Can I finish? You just got me all riled up. We tell heartfelt stories. We're so emotional over here. We talk to the stars.
Turn up the notch on that.
You on top of your game.
Thank you. DBL is entertaining.
I was like in shock.
That's why we watch. It's time to be a part of the DBL family. Watch DBL on our station's streaming app.
Locked On daily podcasts for every NFL team.
When you watch the tape, Bryce Young's the best player. That's irrefutable. Bryce Young was the best player of the quarterbacks in this draft class the last 2 years.
Listen or watch today. Find your team wherever you get podcasts.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Loved ones taken too soon. Their killers still walking free. But for these victims, justice is finally coming. Finally Caught, now streaming free on the True Crime Network app.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verified newsletter answers your questions, clarifies what's true and false, and even includes a daily fun fact. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
Mom Squad, every week, right here on your streaming app. 35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. So we're here to help. Mom Squad, every week, right here on your streaming app.
Crews on the Outer Banks spent the day working to keep NC-12 clear. Transportation officials say the road is passable right now, but they're urging people to stay inside.
Ophelia is still pummeling coastal North Carolina, and Angelique Aronsock found out what people there are expecting this weekend.
Winds picked up as the day progressed. The tropical storm is also ushering in some really high surf and choppy waters.
In Nags Head, beachgoers seemed to heed the no swimming flags.
We got some bait and fish and lines, and we're hoping for the best.
The effects of Ophelia started to push in Friday on the Outer Banks.
It's raining and a lot of wind.
Brian Hamlet is making the most of his birthday trip.
Hopefully we can, maybe go bowl a little bit, get out, go play some laser tag. Can't really hang at the beach too much.
Roads weren't as busy because of poor conditions. Some sand and water are accumulating on Highway 12. A North Carolina Department of Transportation spokesman urges caution as crews with heavy equipment work to clear the roadway. The weather story on the Outer Banks evolved by late afternoon and early evening.
It's transitioned like more rain, more wind, ponding in the roads.
As the direction of the wind shifts, both transportation and emergency officials warn of the high chance for sound-side flooding. They expect that mainly on Saturday in areas like Hatteras, Avon, Buxton, Manio, and Kitty Hawk.
It's Mother Nature. You just kind of have to respect it.
In Dare County, Angelique Aronsock, 13 News Now.
Well, that's what you need to know about the roads. But what about if you're flying? This is the flight status page for Norfolk International Airport. Quite a few departures have been canceled tomorrow. So if you are flying this weekend, make sure you double check your flight status before you head out there to the airport.
And if you're worried about where to park during the storm, several cities are opening up garages for residents. In Norfolk, anyone can park at the York Street Garage or the Brambleton lot for free until 9 Sunday morning. ODU is also opening up the Constant Center Garage on 43rd Street until 5 Sunday night. How about Portsmouth? There you have the Middle Street and Water Street garages. You can use those until first thing Monday morning. In Virginia Beach, you can park at the garages on 9th and 31st Streets. You can stay there until noon Sunday. And then in Hampton, you have the Settlers Landing Garage. That is open for you. And in Chesapeake, you can use the parking garage at the TCC campus on Cedar Road. You can stay there until 8 o'clock Monday morning. The tidal flooding is expected to start soon, so let's send it back to Evan to time everything out for us.
Yeah, some of the highest tides, we expect those during the overnight from about 2 to 4 a.m. So that's when we'll see some of the worst of the flooding and probably some of the heaviest of the rain moving through. Already some areas over 2 inches of rain, and we've seen those strong winds. And that comes in these bands. And notice there is this heavier band right through here. I was watching some of our Skyview cameras, look like a lightning flash out towards Virginia Beach. And there could be a little bit of lightning in some of these storms. I expect the main thing will be the gusty winds and the heavy rain as these bands continue to work their way inland. The storm's still about 3 or 4 hours or so from making landfall, again, close to Cape Lookout or somewhere between Cape Lookout, Cape Fear, Atlantic Beach. Those areas will see some of the worst of the winds as there's likely some strong winds over 70 miles per hour close to it. And that band of thunderstorms that is right there just offshore. As it comes ashore, that's where those strongest winds will be. So we take a look at the satellite perspective. You might notice this does not look like a classic tropical system. We see this big comma shape, so this is really more of a hybrid system, and it is very much front-loaded here on the north side and the west side. That's where we're seeing all of the rain, but you'll notice on the east side of it, there's not much out there. We've got this dry air that is being drawn into it. So I think as the storm moves up through eastern North Carolina and right along Interstate 95, here in Hampton Roads, we might get on some of this dry air working its way in. So as we go through the day tomorrow, we might see lesser amounts of rain than places like Richmond and Raleigh and Rocky Mount and maybe even Washington, D.C. As of 11 o'clock, 70-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving to the north-northwest at 12 right now. Once it comes ashore, loses that fuel, loses that energy of the warm waters. It'll start to weaken. Will continue to weaken right as it moves up Interstate 95, and by Sunday evening, just a remnant low pushing its way towards Philadelphia. So here's Futurecast, midnight, still areas of rain, still these bands of heavy rain pushing through, winds gusting around 30 to 40 miles per hour, some localized spots, maybe 50-mile-per-hour gusts, and we'll see that through the overnight. Rain becomes a little more scattered as we head towards 6 o'clock tomorrow morning when we start Daybreak. Of course, Taylor Stephenson and Craig Moeller will be in for 13 News Now Daybreak starting at 6 a.m., tracking the rain that will be moving through and the strong winds. Through midday, as the storm works its way up through central parts of Virginia, North Carolina, could see a few more showers, but then notice we might get on that dry side, which means we'll see lesser amount of rain as we go through the afternoon. It'll still be breezy, wind switching around towards the south, gusts over 30 miles per hour. Same thing into the evening as the storm finally lifts north, and then into Sunday, cloudy to start, maybe an early morning shower, and maybe a little bit of clearing towards the afternoon, temperatures into the mid to upper 70s. But notice those winds switch around towards the northwest, and that will help the tide levels. When you have those easterly winds, pushes the water into the bay and up the James, the York, Rappahannock rivers, winds switch around towards the northwest, it's able to push that water out. But the areas that we're really concerned about, I mentioned Jamestown along the James River, Yorktown along the York River, the Lynn Haven Inlet. Those are the areas that there's the potential for what we classify as major flooding. So this could still be a significant flood event towards Yorktown, possibly Poquoson, and then here along the north-facing beaches here of Virginia Beach over into Norfolk. Other areas are expecting moderate flooding. Speaking of that moderate flooding, that's what we're expecting at Sewell's Point overnight. This afternoon, 4.6 feet, that's considered minor. Up to moderate overnight, 6.4. That's the highest we've been in almost 2 years. It was January 2022 when we were close to that, if we get up to that overnight. But then notice, even by tomorrow afternoon, moderate to 5.5, and by Sunday, water level is well below normal. Same thing for Yorktown, got to 4.2 this afternoon, but 4 a.m., 5.7, 5.5 on Saturday afternoon, so still considered major flooding. That begins at 5.5 feet. then down to 3.4 into late Saturday night and Sunday morning, and not really expecting many issues through the Outer Banks, at least on the Atlantic coast side. As we go into Saturday afternoon and Saturday night and those winds switch back around, could be those issues with sound side flooding, especially along the coast of the Pamlico Sound. Cloudy, windy, rainy right now, 68 sustained winds of 37 miles per hour, 64 in Franklin, 66 Smithfield, Tangier Island, 72 in Currituck, same thing in Moyock, 63 in Wakefield, and 62 in Williamsburg. Again, those wind gusts over 40 miles per hour at Norfolk International now, 47, 37 in Virginia Beach, 49 in Elizabeth City, some of the strongest winds you've seen so far this evening. Later tonight, down to 66, very windy with rain, heavy at times, northeast winds 20 to 40, gusting to 55, and then 78 tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, likely fewer of them as we go through the afternoon. Still those issues with tidal flooding, still windy. Tomorrow night, 64, those showers and storms taper off, winds diminish, and maybe a morning shower or two on Sunday. Otherwise, partly sunny and breezy, 77. 7-day forecast looking nice on Monday, partly sunny and 77, and then a little unsettled into next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, mid-70s, partly sunny, and a chance of a spotty shower each and every day.
All right, Evan, thanks. We want to take you back to these outages with Dominion Energy. We apologize. We've had some technical difficulties. We were trying to get Benita Billingsley-Harris on the air for us, but she is texting with me now. She says they have 14,000 customers out right now. It is expected to get worse. You can probably hear the rain and the wind whipping up out there. We've had nearly 39,000, she says, so far, but the crews are out there working hard. So again, 39,000 outages so far, Dominion Energy reporting, down to 14,000. She says Virginia Beach has had the most trouble with 15,700 out. They're down to 5,100 right now in Virginia Beach, and she asked everyone to be safe and make sure you report it out an outage as you have them.
Yeah, could be a long night for those linemen. Our thanks to them.
Thank God for them.
Yeah, and you can count on 13 News Now to keep you up to date as Ophelia passes through. Just text the word weather to the number on your screen. We'll send you back a link to the forecast page on our website. And next, Norfolk State is stepping up security 3 weeks after someone shot and killed a student near campus. The changes you can expect to see and when. Plus, why 2 Virginia Beach parents are suing the school division. And art institutes are permanently shutting down all locations. What they say is to blame for the closure.
Andy Bashir is flat out lying.
I've never supported gender reassignment surgery for kids.
That is false. Bashir sided with the radical left, allowing young children to undergo permanent gender-changing surgery.
Those procedures don't happen here in Kentucky.
Reports prove that gender-changing surgeries were done at this Lexington facility. Andy Bashir caught lying again. What else is he lying about?
So I travel a ton for work, and I have a lot of camera gear. On my last trip, I popped some tiles into my bag while I was packing. And good thing, because when I got there, my luggage was gone. So I rang my tiles and ding-a-ding-a-ding, 150 feet away. I cannot begin to tell you how relieved I felt. I'm super grateful for the ability to just pop those babies into all of my different stuff, my equipment bags, my purse, keys. And for me, it just takes a little bit of that anxiety away.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed to stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Locked On Daily Podcasts for every NFL team.
The Chargers are $16 million over the cap after picking up Justin Herbert's fifth-year option.
The last chance that you have with your quarterback where you can win the Super Bowl, where you have that blueprint.
You can say, oh, we're going to pay this guy money, or we're going to go do this, or we're going to go do that. And you're going to stay in the bottom half, and maybe you'll go from the bottom half to the top third, but that doesn't mean you're going to win a Super Bowl. The Rams have done it right.
Listen or watch today. Find your team wherever you get podcasts.
Recipes that will wow the whole family. Cooking with Styles.
We're back with the 3 things you need to know before bed. These are some of the top stories we're following tonight.
Other than the weather, of course, number 1, Norfolk State University is working on a plan to step up security. It comes weeks after someone shot and killed NSU junior Jahari George near campus. Today, friends and family gathered for his funeral in Maryland. The university is now adding mobile police cameras to the Spartan Suites parking lot, and while NSU and Norfolk police are adding extra walking patrols. NSU also wants to install a fence around campus. Many of these changes will take effect in the next 2 weeks.
Number 2, 2 Virginia Beach parents are suing the school division. They filed a lawsuit to force the school board to adopt the Virginia Department of Education's transgender model policy. School board members voted against adopting the policy at a meeting last month, and they'll meet again Monday for a special work session to go over the policy.
And number 3, the Art Institutes is permanently closing on September 30th. That's according to an email sent to students and staff today and on their website. There are almost a dozen Art Institute locations across the country, including one in Virginia Beach. The school says it's been struggling to recover since the pandemic. And those are the 3 things you need to know before bed.
Coming up, I'll have a final look at Ophelia and the 7-day forecast right after the break.
Loved ones taken too soon. Their killers still walking free. But for these victims, justice is finally coming. Finally Caught. Now streaming free on the True Crime Network app.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. So we're here to help. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app.
Locked On daily podcasts for every college team.
What this program is doing with Coach Hugh Freeze, we're all assuming, and I don't think it's a crazy assumption, that Auburn will be a better team in 2024.
Listen or watch today. Find your team wherever you get podcasts. Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verified newsletter answers your questions, clarifies what's true and false, and even includes a daily fun fact. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
Local and national experts on all your favorite teams, from the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL, to the biggest teams in college sports. Your team every day, free 24/7 on demand. Locked On Sports today.
Got a new house.
I finally found a place that I call home.
Peacock and Williamson NFL show.
I mean, the Lions were one of the worst defenses in the league last year. It looks a little better. I think the Bears and Vikings are going to be in the mix for worst defense this year.
Listen or watch today wherever you get podcasts.
This is Daily Blast Live, right here at this desk, 5 days a week. No topics are off limits. I think it's an okay conversation to have. We have fiery debate. That's not true. Can I finish? You just got me all riled up. We tell heartfelt stories. We're so emotional over here. We talk to the stars.
Turn up the notch on that.
You on top of your game.
Thank you. DBL is entertaining.
I was like in shock.
That's why we watch. It's time to be a part of the DBL family. Watch DBL on our station's streaming app.
Recipes that will wow the whole family. Cooking with Styles.
13 News Now is in storm mode. Our weather team has been tracking Ophelia all day long. And as we look live over Virginia Beach and Norfolk, wind and rain are slamming the area tonight.
And you know, the worst of the tidal flooding is really going to happen when most of us are asleep overnight. So, Evan, I think a lot of us are wondering what's it going to be like when we wake up.
Yeah, we're still going to be looking at some wind and some rain across the area, but I really wanted to point out Newport News. Of course, we oftentimes take this camera and they have the fountains there up at Oyster Point. We can see, even though the winds aren't as strong in Newport News, those fountains are sort of blowing. The tops of them are blowing off, cloudy and, of course, rainy. And you've seen some of the other shots. Virginia Beach right now, we've got the rain showing up on the camera lens there. At the DQ at 17th and Atlantic, on top of the Jordan Bridge, that camera is up pretty high, and we can sometimes see it shaking around a little bit. And I think there in some of those street lights, you can certainly see the heavy rain that is coming down. And we'll continue to see rounds of rain as we go through the overnight. Here's another batch of some heavy rain pushing through northeastern North Carolina. That's going across the state line. So in another 30, 40 minutes, some of the heavy rain will be moving back into the downtown Norfolk area and Portsmouth, then crossing up into the peninsula. Still looking at these rounds of rain through the overnight. Into the day tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms, fewer of them in the afternoon. Tidal flooding, 78, and then a morning shower possible, clearing out late Sunday, 77, 77 on Monday, and showers next week.
All right, that is 13 News Now at 11. We do want to look at these numbers again. I know we just talked to Benita Billingsley-Harris from Dominion Energy, but some of y'all are still, you've got your power out, and she says the crews there, they are working to restore power. Virginia Beach has had the most trouble, 15,000 out, down to 5,100 right now, so they are working.
And they are making progress, that's for sure. All right, we hope you can keep your power on. Certainly stay inside, have a safe evening. And Daybreak starts at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
In my business, online is the new Main Street. UPS gives me the savings and credibility to look like the biggest store on the block, which is why I choose UPS wherever I e-commerce.
Hi, my name is Jada. This is my dog Ziggy. I got Tile a couple months ago. My first impression was, wow, I needed this. So when I'm coming home late at night, I want to be able to find my keys. You know, I live in a city by myself, so it can get a little scary. I have my Tile. All I have to do is click, and it pings a little jingle, and I can just find them right here. I feel more safe and secure using this little guy, and it's been such a game changer.
Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes.
It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting podcast. We're the Draft Dudes.
How many tight ends in the NFL had an average depth of target of at least 10 yards and averaged at least 3 yards of separation per target?
That's
whether to bring charges or not.